considering becoming a workplace mediator? Well, I think that's a great idea. And very shortly, I'll explain what a day in the life of a workplace mediator looks like. I'm Andrea Doyle, owner of Doyle Solutions. I'm a workplace mediator, conflict manager, author and presenter. And I specialise in helping employers manage workplace conflict well. In 95% of my mediations, participants leave agreeing on how they'll work together. So, here's what a day in the life of a mediator looks like. As with any process that is successful, there's work to be done before it even starts, before the day even dawns. Before you bring people together for a mediation, first of all, you need to consider, is mediation the best strategy for them? So I refer to this as the discovery phase. This is where I meet with people one-on-one, confidentially, to find out what are the issues that are causing them conflict in the workplace. Once I've heard from all people involved, then I'll consider whether going to mediation will be an effective strategy for them. If so, what I will do next is make sure that I send the participants an overview of the mediation process. Now, I may have already talked about this during the discovery phase, but there's so much going on for them in their world at the moment, they may not have heard everything. I'll email them some information about what to expect on the day. Because in mediation, we don't want any surprises. Mediation is all about communicating better, and so we want everything to be out on the open. Also, before the mediation starts, participants need to know, of course, the details. So where is it going to be held, what time, and more importantly, who's going to be there. So that's your role as a workplace mediator, to make sure all of that information is set up. Let's roll forward to the day of the mediation. Well, usually I arrive about 30 to 45 minutes ahead of the expected time to start, because I'm the one who sets up the room. So before the participants arrive, I make sure that there are tables and the chairs are set appropriately. I make sure there's a space somewhere around the room that I can hang up some butcher's paper, because we'll be needing that during the session. And I also make sure that if there's a clock somewhere in the room, that I can easily see it, and that just helps me keep a track of the time. So once I have the physical elements of the room set up, I make sure I know where the toilets are. I've set up the pen and paper on the table for the participants and myself, and also water for everybody. I also keep the tissues under the table if needed. Mobile phone, I'll have mine sitting on silent and no vibration down on a chair beside me in case it's needed for dates or for any calculations that might occur. I'd rather use my phone than have one of the participants pull theirs out. They might get distracted by a text message they see or by an email. So I'd keep my phone handy for that purpose. Once I know that everything is sorted and ready to go, what I will do then is get myself into the right mindset of what I need to do in this upcoming session. So I just run through my head what the process will be, what the key elements are that I've heard from that discovery session, and I have a bit of an idea as to what I think the people will want to talk about today. Now, keep in mind that mediation belongs to the participants. It's their process. The role as the workplace mediator is simply there to guide them. The mediator does not make any decisions. The mediator does not tell them what to do. The mediator guides people through a process, and those people come up with the decisions. And in fact, that's the part I probably love the most, and that drew me initially to mediation in the first place, was that I didn't have to make the decisions for people. And I actually found that quite a relief after years of having to do that as part of my role. Okay, so I'm prepared. The room's prepared. I know where the toilets are. I know where the clock is. It's time to get going. Now I bring in both the participants, and I'll bring them in together, because at any time and every time throughout this whole process, I need to ensure that I am seen as impartial and I'm not providing bias to either person. So when they enter the room, I take them through some housekeeping information, and then I start them on the process. So that's when I ask them to start talking to me and explain to me what's been going on from their perspective. Yes, I have heard it before in the discovery phase, but what will happen now is it enables the other person in the room to hear directly from their colleague what's been going on. And that's valuable, because sometimes this might be the first time they've actually heard some of that information. So it's an important step. Then we continue working our way through the process, and which can take about 4 hours. Now, Anytime I hear the participants agree with each other, which is something they haven't been able to do for a while in the workplace, I make an opportunity to highlight that they are actually able to come to agreement on different things. So, for example, one of the questions I'll ask early on is who will see the mediation agreement that is created today? And when they agree on whether it's just themselves or whether it's the HR manager as well, that I'll put into the conversation that it's great to see that they're working together and they've just demonstrated that they can do that. Now, sometimes there might be a bit of a wry laugh because it's not something that's really impacting them, but it just sets that scene that they can agree on things. Okay, so the process is now continuing, and after they've spoken to me about the issues, then I'll encourage them to speak to each other about the issues, and then we work through and they will start to work out, well, what are some of the options that they'd be happy to leave the room with for a plan on how they can work better together. Now, when I'm hearing this information about potential options, about potential ways forward, I'll start making some notes around that, because by the time the agreement comes, they're quite exhausted because it's quite an emotional process. They may not have slept well last night, and heck, for some people, they may not have slept well for a few weeks. Some may have even gone to their doctors for the stress component and maybe working and maybe on medication to assist them. So it's important that if you're wanting to be a workplace mediator, you realise that the people sitting in front of you, although they might look like everything's okay except for this component, it may have impacted them and their families in ways you may not be aware. Now, after the participants have left the room, that's when I then still have a little bit of cleaning up to do, rearrange the room as it was, and then I can start to go home. So a workplace mediator, you can be in a different workplace every day. You can be using different strategies every day. There will usually be one common element on your list of items for discussion, and that will always be communication. It's the breakdown in communication that has brought them to you. So you're always assured of knowing one element or one topic that will go on that list. I'm Andrea Doyle. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.